Coming to you live from my apartment. It's Rob Has a Podcast. And now, here's the owner and sole proprietor of the world's first monster truck stop sock hop, Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Amazing Race 26 finale coverage. We are live and ready to talk about a night when we crown blind daters Tyler and Laura as the champions of the Amazing Race, as the final three teams left in Blind Date Amazing Race are all blind date couples. And now here is a person that I've been on a podcasting blind date for about 3 years with, Jessica Liese. Jessica, how are you?
Hey, Rob. I'm good. It's been a long and interesting night.
Yes. Okay. Jessica's had a much more interesting night than I have. I've been here podcasting about Big Brother Canada and watching Amazing Race. But Jessica, what was the preeminent Amazing Race podcaster out there doing tonight?
I'm not sure what the preeminent Amazing Race podcaster was doing, but I was in a bar watching the Amazing Race finale with some of the members of the cast.
Wow. Okay. All right. So we will get into Jessica's night and, of course, the exciting finish to Amazing Race 26. And also, big news this week, Jess. It turns out the Amazing Race will be on the CBS fall schedule for Amazing Race 27.
Woohoo! You just can't kill that show, can you?
We can. They'll try. They've tried, and they cannot.
It is a tenacious little race.
It is a tenacious show. Okay, so we are here, and we are live, and a little bit later than normal, delayed start time, because Jess is out doing VIP-type stuff with the Amazing Race cast, but she will have a lot of good stories, hopefully, and talk to us about what the vibe was with the Amazing Race teams. And, of course, I will be able to tell you firsthand when I speak with the Amazing Race Final Four. All those interviews will be on Monday on Rob Has a Podcast as we kick off finale week on Rob Has a Podcast. I'll have interviews with the Final Four Amazing Race teams, including the winners, Tyler and Laura, on Monday, and then on Thursday I will speak with maybe all of the Final Five. We'll see who is off to Survivor Second Chance, and if they are, whether or not we're going to get exit interviews with them. But we will have our big Survivor Worlds Apart exit interview show on Thursday as well. So we'll have lots of exit interviews on the podcast next week. Of course, we're live. We got the chat room open on robswebsite.com. We got the hashtag RHAP, and then also on our YouTube channel at robswebsite.com/YouTube. All right, Jess, tell me about it. What was the Amazing Race viewing party like?
Well, I gotta say, this is one of those things where the Amazing Race viewing party can kind of spoil the outcome of the race unintentionally.
Yes, how so?
Well, the fact that I had to send my cover charge into one Tyler H. Adams, that was my first indication. I show up, and the only racer that's there at first is Tyler, and a whole bunch of his friends, and his parents, and his best friends from childhood, and a whole bunch of other random people that only seem to know Tyler.
Yeah, so you felt like it was a Tyler and Laura night, since
yeah,
Tyler
very
was the only
much.
person there.
This was very much like 3 seasons ago when I went down to Providence to hang out with Jason and Amy and all of Jason and Amy's friends.
Yeah, Providence Amy was there.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay, so you're walking in and you're feeling the vibes for Tyler and Laura tonight.
Yeah, very much feeling the vibes, but I wasn't sure.
Okay, so all right, so who else is there tonight?
Well, we had 3 of the Final 4 teams.
Now, why was the party in New York? Aren't they Team SoCal?
I think Tyler has family here is the reason.
Okay.
And it was.
And Laura was there too?
Yeah, Laura was there as well.
All right.
And
what was the vibe between Tyler and Laura?
They were very, very, very platonic.
Platonic.
Yes.
Okay.
There was no vibe between them.
No vibe.
So
okay.
any of you Tyler and Laura shippers out there, you're very disappointed.
Okay. Who else was there?
Jelani and Jenny were there.
Okay. And how was that?
Also, they were there with other people, so.
Totes platonic.
Totes platonic.
Okay.
And Mike and Rochelle were there.
Okay.
And I hung out with them a fair amount. I cannot say enough good things about Mike and Rochelle. They are the coolest.
The coolest?
Yes, the very coolest. And then Matt and Ashley were there.
Okay.
And Harley was there, but not Jonathan, because Jonathan's got important new kids' business to take care of.
No Blaley at the party.
No, Hayley threw her own party in Florida, but from what I understand, Blair was not at that party.
Wow.
That party had Jeff and Lyda and Team Tuskegee and Kurgan and
So
Jeff.
dueling Amazing Race finale parties tonight.
Yes, dueling Amazing Race finale parties.
Were Blair and Hayley persona non grata at the Tyler and Laura party?
I didn't get that sense. I think it was just that Hayley kind of wanted to throw her own party. Like, nobody had anything bad to say about her.
Okay. No, and nobody knows what Blair's whereabouts are.
No, he might be out on his houseboat somewhere.
Okay. All right. So it was a fun night tonight?
Yeah, very fun night. It was a
Okay.
really good party. It was great vibe, really nice crowd.
And all the race teams were getting along? No sniping tonight?
Not as far as I could tell.
Okay. All right. So, Jess, let's talk about this. Tyler and Laura, let's not bury the lead, are the new winners of the Amazing Race. What do you think of Tyler and Laura as far as their resume goes here in season 26 in terms of Amazing Race winners?
Well, you know what I always say at the beginning of the season. When I'm making my winner pick, I'm gonna go ahead and choose the most boring team. And I did that based on the biographies this year, and I ended up being very, very wrong both about who was going to win and who was boring. And Tyler and Laura, it turns out, I think they were the most boring of the teams that were left, but they were not boring. Like, objectively speaking, they were very funny. They were huge fans of the race. And they really, they came from behind and ended up taking the whole thing, kind of pretty much snatching it out from under the nose of Jelani and Jenny.
Yeah. And it looked like at one point Blair and Hayley were in prime position to be able to walk away from this thing. A blunder on the part of Hayley tonight really opened the door for Tyler and Laura. And then Jenny and Jelani, one wrong turn is seemingly what cost them the Amazing Race 26 championship.
Yeah, and it's really exciting, I think, when it can come down to something that small. But I also, something that we have not seen in many, many seasons, and not to like pile on Blair and Hayley here, but something we have not seen for many, many seasons is one team colossally screwing up at something on the very last task. And that was interesting to see. They almost got like what we might consider a latter-day Guido edit.
Whoa, a latter-day Guido edit. I'm going to put that on my hashtag list.
I think I already know what the hashtag is going to be tonight.
Okay, all right. Well, tell me when we get there.
All right.
Yeah, for Blair and Hayley, if it was Blair that did that final task, or one of those final tasks where he had to drop down, and he was the one in charge of finding the flags, and he was the one that didn't find where they were supposed to go, Jess, what would that have looked like?
That would have looked like a crime scene, and there probably would have been a murder committed.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to know what would have happened in that case. But I don't think that Blair would have been any better at that task than Hayley was, because Hayley has really been the detail-oriented person all season long. So she was really the ideal person they needed to do that task. And the fact that she couldn't get it, like, I don't think that's any reflection on them as a team, and I don't think that means they're terrible racers. I think it was just like they hit this one thing that tripped them up.
Yeah, it was definitely a slip up for them. They really never were able to recover. You know, they were seemingly coming in way later than Jenny and Jelani and Tyler and Laura, but kudos to Blair, who did not go crazy and just, go off on Hayley. He really took it very well.
Yeah, he was really the model of the kind of Amazing Race partner you want in that situation.
Yeah. That Blair, he's such a giving and kind partner.
He has endless stores of patience. I will give him that.
Yes, even though he doesn't always listen to his partner.
He's not great at listening, but he is great at tolerating.
He is great at tolerating, and that's his best asset.
Yes.
Is that part and parcel with living on a houseboat?
Maybe. Like, I think he is kind of one of these one of these people that's not. He doesn't let things get to him. Like, they don't bog him down. Like, when you're on a houseboat, you can just kind of, if you don't like your surroundings, you could just go somewhere else.
Okay. Talk to me more about Tyler and Laura and just where you feel like they sit amongst the Amazing Race winners that you've seen. Do you feel like are they top of the pack? Are they more back of the pack? From what you saw from them all season long.
Well, I think Tyler and Laura had amazing focus. Like, this entire time, you very rarely saw them get upset with each other, and you rarely saw them like bring any of their own personal business into anything they were doing. Like, the two of them were pretty much strictly about racing the entire time they were here, and I think that was kind of the main ingredient to their success. That they showed up, and they're easygoing people that are ready to win the race, and they're very competitive, and they were able to kind of collaborate on this common goal.
Yeah. I'm just looking at their placement for the race. Here's how they did through 12 weeks. Third, second, fourth, sixth of seven, second, two first place finishes. Those come back to back, both in Namibia. That was where they really they really heated up. Then fourth out of fifth. That was the one close call that they had. The leg where Matt and Ashley got eliminated with the mamas and the papas. Third out of fourth, and then first out of fourth ultimately before then coming in first in Dallas.
Yeah, it was, and I think it was telling that the worst thing that anybody could find to say about Tyler and Laura going into the final leg was when they're not out in front, they are having a difficult time. And you know what? That's freaking true of everybody at all times. Like, if you're not out in front, you probably have a harder time with things.
Yeah. Now, I feel like their win is not without some, I don't know if controversy is the right word, but there definitely was some sniping that I detected from some of the other teams in terms of talking to teams in the exit interviews, going back to Jeff and Jackie and the fanny pack. And they felt like that Tyler potentially did some shady stuff to, or maybe was played a little bit dirty or a little bit harder than they expected on the Amazing Race. Also, it seemed like from the Team Sochi, they also did not seem to be huge fans of Tyler and Laura.
Yeah. I think the issue was, I think Tyler and Laura were more prepared to do anything it took to win the race, and they maybe got there a couple of times at the expense of another team. Not necessarily an unethical, or I wouldn't even say that they did anybody dirty, but they just kind of went a little bit further than other teams.
What does it say to you, Jess, that the last three teams in this race were all the blind date teams, whereas all of the existing couples, none of them even got into the top three, with only Mike and Rochelle being the only one to make it to the finale? Is that a coincidence, or do you feel like there's something to this?
Well, I think some of it has to do with casting, because I think that when the Amazing Race was choosing their blind daters, they very consciously chose people that were intelligent, well-traveled, physically fit. They were, on the whole, they were younger, I think, than a lot of the teams that they were racing against who were existing couples. And I think they really had those advantages in place, and they also were coming in, I think everybody but Blair and Hayley, I would say, they were coming in with this idea that their main goal was to get to the end, and it didn't really matter who they were there with.
So do you just feel like that it was just happened to be the existing couples that they cast were not the greatest racers, whereas the blind date couples were just, there was nothing particularly special that they were blind date couples?
Yeah, well, you had Jeff and Lyda and John and Harley, who are both, 15 to 20 years older than the rest of the pool.
So they lost a step, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Step by step.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they hung tough for a while, but
right.
It was no more games for them after a certain point. Look, we got to get these in while we can. This is our last chance.
They didn't have the
ever.
right stuff. Right.
And CJ and Libby were a little bit less in shape, I think, and they also were terrible at navigation and not well traveled at all. And that was kind of their problem. I mean, you had Steve and Allie, who were, as fit as anybody, and I think were real contenders to go far.
But they were a cold weather team, and they had to go to Namibia.
Exactly. They were just done in by the wrong climate.
Namibian heat.
Yes, the Namibian heat. One of those NBA D-League teams.
Yes, and Mike and Rochelle had to kick field goals.
Yeah, and Mike and Rochelle kind of sucked at kicking field goals. Well, I think Rochelle probably could have kicked a field goal.
She could have. She
Yeah.
could have. She works
Rochelle,
with her feet as a roller derby person.
Indeed, and she's very tall. Like, she is as tall, maybe taller than I am.
It's too bad Tyler Frederickson wasn't on The Amazing Race this season.
No, I think that's okay.
Why, you're not a Tyler? You're not a Tyler fangirl?
Anybody that just tells women to sit there and look pretty,
Mm-hmm. In fairness, I think he told everybody to sit there and look pretty.
Yeah, well, some of them were better at it than others, I guess.
Yes.
But, yeah, he would have been very, very good at this task.
He would have.
I think maybe... But, Tyler Adams was very good at this, too.
Yes. Jess, talk to me about the construction of the finale leg. This is something that we always look at, and what was a good final leg. Did you like this leg in Dallas?
I liked that they finally... It was a mix of tasks that required no skill and tasks that required no skill but looked cool, and tasks that required a fair amount of skill. And I think you need both in your finale, because you need the razzle dazzle, you need the sort of David Copperfield spectacle, but then you also need to ensure.
Is that an Abby Maria shout out?
Yes, it's also a Stephen Fishbach shout out. Yeah, I feel like it's interesting to be talking Amazing Race because I've been talking Survivor all week, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the race sometimes in the final leg kind of sacrifices any chance that a team could come from behind and steal it from another team, because they're too busy putting these tasks there that you complete and you move on and you complete and you move on, and there's nothing particularly arduous about having to do it. And this time you had to go up in the see your name on the Jumbotron and put on the outfit and go way up in the air, but you also had to kick a field goal. And that ended up having a real impact on what happened next. And you had to be able to ride a horse. And you had to be able to solve the logic puzzle and arrange your selfies. So you can drive a monster truck, you can go up in the thing, and you can rappel off a giant tower, but you also have to be able to do a few things. And you have to be able to navigate, and you have to have a good cab driver. And these are all ingredients that led to finishing in first place. And so I'm not unhappy with the winners, and I'm not unhappy with the leg design at all.
Okay, is this the best final leg that we've seen in the last couple seasons?
I think so. I think they're finally figuring some things out. I think it's definitely the best since season 23. I thought season 23 had an element of skill to it too. So I think this is in that vein. I think about the same difficulty level.
Also, not to be overlooked by Tyler and Laura, Laura also had her damn birthday during The Amazing Race this season.
That's true, although, to be fair, she did get to go out and celebrate it, and she got a beer, and she was taken on a reward.
And she didn't have to do dishes.
She did not have to do dishes that we were shown.
That's right. Okay, the coup de grace of the final leg of The Amazing Race was put your selfies in order. And we had the return of the selfies this season. Just, were you happy that Chekhov's selfies came into play in the final leg?
Rob, how is that not going to be the hashtag? Because people don't know how to spell Chekhov is how. I already know. Yeah, I think that I was so happy to see that the selfies actually served a purpose.
Yeah, they did. And we go back to, all the different things of they'll have to put the animals in order, the different leg. Finally, this one was right under our nose. Did we call this during the season, or did this one sneak up on us?
I don't know if we ever did, but I think I'm glad that something that makes so much logical sense went in there.
Yeah. No, I don't think we ever did. I feel like we just always felt like, oh, it's blind date. I believe if you go back to the first or second episode, we were like, I bet some executive was like, hey, I bet selfies are really cool. Why don't we have the teams take selfies?
Yeah, yeah, and I think when we got to the point where we realized that the selfie cam was not necessarily a branded element that was being promoted in any meaningful way, I think that's when we started to suspect that it had some other purpose in the race. But I don't know that we ever called that it was going to be the final memory task.
Yeah. Now, the selfies, while they were very big in the story early on, which like that the teams were always stopping to take selfies. We even saw Team Tuskegee miss a train because they had to take their selfie. When was the last time we saw anybody take a selfie on the show?
Well, we see selfies at the end, like after a team got eliminated, they would always show a selfie.
Mm-hmm.
And they would generally a team checking in at the mat. I think almost every episode somebody took a picture at the mat with Phil.
Just the fact that the blind date teams did particularly well, including the final 3 teams all being blind date teams. Do you feel like Blind Date Amazing Race was a success?
Well, I think it wasn't a failure. I mean, the show's gotten renewed, so they didn't kill it.
Yes.
I wouldn't say, though, like, I don't think this is a top-tier season. I don't think it's down there with, like, season 24, but I think it was an average season, and it rose above its stupid conceit.
So, it's funny. I just was tweeted our friend Mikey Glazer, a friend of the podcast, that he wrote an article for TheWrap.com talking about that he spoke with Bertram Van Munster, who talked about how it actually worked better and was more unexpected than we could have wished for, and says that it was something. I think we have real matches. If these people don't fall in love, then there's no hope for them. That's what he said at the beginning of the race, but he was very happy with how it turned out.
Even though nobody banged.
even though they were very happy.
Yeah, well, they should be happy because it could have been much, much worse than it was.
Yes. And Mikey asked the question, will blind date couples be back? And Bertram said, not going to tell you.
Yeah, that means they are. Thanks, Bertram.
Yep, they're coming back.
I don't know, man. I hope it's not like, I hope it doesn't become, I don't want it to be sort of like, you know how Survivor did the thing where whenever they shot 2 seasons back to back, they'd use the same conceit for both of them. Like you'd have 2 seasons with Redemption Island in very close proximity, and you'd have like 2 Blood versus Water seasons very close to each other. I think if we get a whole new blind date season next season, that's going to kill the show. I don't mind if we have like 1 team as blind daters. I think that's a cool idea. But I don't want to see half of them, and I don't want to see it all couples again.
Yeah, I feel like the idea of Blind Date Amazing Race, I don't think we need to do that again. But I do like the idea of let's cast, 9 couple or nine teams and then have 2 teams that are going to be blind daters and see how that goes. I feel like I liked a little bit of that. Did we need 6 blind date teams? I don't know. Did we need 11 couples on the race? Definitely not. But I like it a little bit. Like I feel like that might be a fun wild card to have a couple people that are just out there for the blind date.
Yeah, and I've said it before. I think it's an interesting dynamic to have 1 team that's total strangers.
And I don't think it has to necessarily be blind date. It doesn't need to be a romantic thing. What about like a quote unquote blind date and it's 2 guys, 2 straight guys?
Yeah,
like
it's a bro date.
It's a bro date. It's not, we're not looking for romance, like or it's just 2 people that we're not trying to put them together for it's a 22-year-old guy and like a 55-year-old lady. Like it's like let's what happens then?
Well, Rob, I think we've talked about this earlier. I think on the podcast in one of the previous episode recaps, I brought up the reality series that I am the only person that ever watched this. It was called Cannonball Run 2001 and featured Jeff Varner and Sue Hawk were part of one of the teams. And
it all comes back together.
It all comes back to Cannonball Run 2001, guys. This is a show that was gone way too soon. But the conceit was there were teams of 3, and 2 of the people had some connection, like Jeff Varner and Sue Hawk were one of the teams, and there were 2 like hip hop guys.
Yeah, Jeff Varner. He's a terrible person to race with. Oh yeah, he's slow.
Yeah. So then at one point they had like 2 Playboy bunnies, and at one point along the race they had to stop and pick up a 3rd team member. And the 2 hip hop guys picked up this like retired drill sergeant from the South, and the 2 Playboy bunnies picked up a divinity student, and Jeff Varner and Sue Hawk picked up some douche from Temptation Island.
Kaya? Was it Kaya?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And I like this idea of like the blind friend date with 2 people that are totally different, like people that would never cross paths in real life, and make them work together. Like, you know, the Survivor 3, if we're going to make 2001 references, I'm going to go all the way. We got the Brandon and Frank blind date, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we want
that was
people
a good
like
blind
that.
date.
Yeah.
And could you also do it, could you have like a celebrity casting where it's like, okay, we're going to get like some random guy and Dave Navarro.
So now we're talking like the $25,000 pyramid style of blind date. Yeah, I could be down with that.
Like, Dave, what do you think? Should you do the detour or should I? Like, I got this, man. I got it.
Dave Navarro's busy with his own reality show.
Yeah, and busy rooting for Cochran, his favorite Survivor player. Well,
Yeah.
what about Dave Navarro and Cochran? Wouldn't that be a good?
Oh, that I would watch. That's a match made in heaven.
All right, Jess. Let's just talk through. Let's write our, obituary / eulogy for some of these other teams. We talked Tyler and Laura. Talk about the final verdict on Jenny and Jelani.
Well, Jenny and Jelani, there were a couple of moments where I thought they were really going to pull out the win, and I was trying to figure out where that came from.
Yeah, and because you said they did not have the winners at it.
No, they did not. But they came on strong very early on, and we always knew they were in the mix. So I was not surprised to see them, like, a lot of the tasks played to their skills. I was not surprised when they cracked the code first on their locker full of selfies.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just that one tiny detail that they missed in the directions. I think they legitimately could have won.
It seemed like the production had a tough time with the selfie color forms. I don't know what you were using to affix the thing to the line, but it just looked like, I don't know, it seemed like you needed to hold it there.
Yeah. Yeah, they were really not sticking terribly well.
No. They not particularly. It wasn't a sticky selfie.
Yeah, it was a really unsticky situation.
It was very unsticky. You could have used some honey that for instead of getting it in your hair, put it on your selfie.
Yeah.
For your honey selfie.
It's like a movie theater floor.
It was the opposite of a movie theater floor.
Yeah. It was like a movie theater floor that just got cleaned.
Jenny and Jelani. I thought that Jenny, again, really, when she got to the mat at the end of the race, was like, boy, it was just, she just totally, again, just so everybody knows, we were just friends here. Like, she really shot down even the idea that anything romantic could have potentially happened.
Well, I know I get in trouble when I tell stories out of school here.
Tell them.
But, the thing that I heard, and I did not have a chance to confirm it with them this evening, but the thing that I heard was that Jenny was dating someone the entire time she was on the race. And
what?
There was never any chance that she and Jelani were going to hook up.
What?
And
she was on a blind date, Amazing Race, and she was spoken for?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a disingenuous blind date, but, I mean, you can't blame her. I mean, someone gives you the call to go on the Amazing Race, you're going to go on it with whoever, right?
If I was Jelani, I would sue.
I don't think Jelani was that upset. I think he's doing all right.
Okay. Whoa.
He's a good-looking dude. He probably has all the female attention he could possibly want.
Oh my God.
He's very short, though.
Okay.
But a lot of Amazing Race people are short.
Yeah, a lot of them are, and some of them are tall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them are short. TV people are always short.
All right. Give us the eulogy for Team Blaley.
Team Blaley. I was really hoping for the ultimate redemption story out of Team Blaley, and it just the whole time we were watching, we thought they were going to colossally implode, and they colossally imploded at the very last minute.
Yeah, but not in the way that we would have hoped.
Not necessarily in the way that we would have hoped. And I think they were really... if they weren't going to win, the other satisfying outcome would be if they were, if they'd happened to find love. Like, of all the blind date teams that you wanted to see succeed, Hayley and Blair were definitely way up there.
Yeah, you really wanted to see that. I mean, there would be no better poster children for Blind Date Amazing Race than a Blair and Hayley victory here.
Yeah.
In
either sense of the term. Like, if they succeeded as an Amazing Race team or as a couple, I think either one of those situations would have been ideal.
Amazing Race doesn't do a winner montage, but boy, Blair and Hayley might have the best winner montage that we've seen.
Yeah, it would just be underscored with Blair, why aren't you listening to me, Blair? And, on one hand, they can't air it if you don't say it. But on the other hand, I have to wonder, maybe Hayley threw her own party so she could be surrounded by supportive people.
You don't think that I'm going to talk to Hayley on Monday and find out that she was disappointed in me?
I don't think so. We've been huge Blair and Hayley fans.
We really have been.
I think we've been rooting for them harder than anybody else. Like, I would say if anybody had occasion to have beef with me, it would probably be Laura and Tyler, because I kept calling them boring, but they were very gracious and very happy, and Laura is an avid podcast listener, so it was very nice to meet them both, and they're great people.
But just didn't you say that they were bougie?
They're not bougie. Maybe they're a little bougie.
Was anybody bougie at the party you went to tonight?
Everybody was dressed very fancy, but nobody was particularly bougie.
Nobody was.
It's not. Some of them were a little bro-y, but that's different. Yeah.
Bro-y is different than bougie.
Yeah, I mean, it was in Murray Hill, so, that's the bro-y neighborhood.
Okay, fair enough. Then let's talk about Mike and Rochelle. Give us the final word on Mike and Rochelle as Amazing Racers.
Mike and Rochelle as Amazing Racers went much further than I think anybody thought they were going to, and because they didn't fit that typical mold of a good racing team, everybody kind of thought they were, they were hanging on to the back of the pack the whole time, which wasn't necessarily true. They had a lot of slip-ups and a lot of moments, and they were never as strong of a team, I think, as Laura and Tyler, or even as Jelani and Jenny or Blair and Hayley, but they were in the mix a lot more than people gave them credit for, and they were definitely the only team I think that were real people. Like, they seemed like just regular folks.
Yeah,
and actually,
they had that going for them.
Yeah, and actually Mike has a point of clarification that he wanted to get the word out.
Okay, get the word out.
We were talking about hashtags and about how he wanted his to be Small Town Sweethearts, and it was a perfect fit for them. And then he dropped a shocking piece of information on me. He says he does not actually work at a truck stop.
Oh my God! All right, hold on a second here. Oh my God, bro! We have some breaking news tonight that he doesn't work at a truck stop. Well, why did they do this?
His parents own a gas station, and he operates a business out of the back of the gas station, working in some capacity with video games, and somehow the production team decided that it made a better story if he owned a truck stop, and so that's where they went with it.
Wow.
And
I mean, that just seems like a total creation.
And he did not even know that their hashtag was Truck Stop Love until the series started.
But why did they start with the truck stop stuff?
I guess
because it says I Heart Truck Stop on his shirt.
I guess truck stop connotes a certain level of pretense or the lack thereof, I think. Mm-hmm. Whereas there are gas stations everywhere, but truck stop is very middle America. So I can kind of see why production would go there, but still, I think Small Town Sweethearts is cute, and I think it would have worked just as well for them.
Okay. All right. Well,
So
more
I
to
don't know.
come with Mike and Rochelle when we get to the exit
Yeah,
interviews on
they are
Monday.
they're very much looking forward to talking to you on Monday.
Good. I mean, is everybody's story a lie, Jess?
Maybe some of these people weren't even on blind dates.
Do Tyler and Laura even really have middle names?
Maybe they just made them up. Well, no, because yeah, I think they do have middle names. I think Tyler's family seems like the kind of people that would give their son the middle name of Hayes.
Okay.
I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. You're saying that they're bougie.
They're a little bit bougie.
A little bit. Okay. Jess, are you ready to get into some questions here about the Amazing Race finale?
Am I ever?
Okay. Here we go. Let's go ahead and start off with Dominic Pell, who says, what's your opinion on taxis in the final leg? I feel like the luck of the taxi has no place in the finale, especially when it's the final four. I know Brenchel has spoken about they did not love the taxi that they got in the finale of Amazing Race 24. Jess, what's your take on taxis in the finale?
I think everything in The Amazing Race is centered around luck. And if if you catch that right flight, or if, someone else's flight is delayed, if you have a cab driver that knows what he's doing, if you manage to spot something that nobody else is spotting, those are all elements of luck, and it all plays into how well you do on the race. And you can't get there on luck alone, but you can get pretty far on luck. And I think you need to have some random chance thrown into that final leg. It's not totally a skill test. And I do think that you could certainly self-drive in the final leg, because you're usually in the United States for that leg, and there's no reason not to. So, I don't know, I'm divided. I'm okay with there being cabs, but I think we could definitely mix it up and not have them at some point.
Okay. Let's do this one. Jerm Martin says, were the monster trucks the most useless part in the whole race? Drive through a small puddle. It doesn't look that hard, Jess.
I've seen much harder driving tasks on The Amazing Race.
Yeah. That was just a set piece, right?
Yeah, it was really just a chance to do something cool. And everybody seemed to think it was pretty fun.
Okay. Chance to do something fun.
Yeah.
Okay. This is from Connor Berry. Honestly, I really enjoyed the finale, but how do you think it ranks among Amazing Race finales? I didn't know who was going to win ever, so I think it was a success.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's a much better finale than we've gotten in most of the recent seasons.
Okay. All right. So, best of top 10?
Well, how many we got? 26? I could put it in the top 10.
Top
Okay.
10 finale. Wow.
That's like the top.
Look at you, Blind Date Amazing Race.
That's like the 66th percentile, Rob.
Yeah.
Not even. So.
Okay. All right. Let's go to, this is from La 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 Laura, who says, so The Amazing Race can't have a 2-hour finale because it's airing a country music duet special at Haymaker Hattie?
Honestly, The Amazing Race almost never has a 2-hour finale, and it hasn't for a long time. What you usually see as the 2-hour finale is 2 episodes sandwiched together. Amazing Race doesn't really do 2-hour finales. It hasn't for a really long time. We ran out of material. We didn't have enough material to sustain 2 hours of that.
Is there any way that they could bridge The Amazing Race into the country music special? Is there anything that they could do to have sort of like a graceful transition that would involve both audiences?
Well, they were in Texas. I have to imagine that there's a fair number of country music fans in Texas.
Could they have brought in any Amazing Race country music singers? Do they have any good Amazing Race country music singers?
We have so many incredibly talented Amazing Race country singers.
We do?
Yeah. Yeah, let's see, from season 15, I think it was, Kanan of Mike and Kanan just released a song that's on the charts.
Oh, that's good.
We have Jen and Caroline of the country music supergroup Stealing Angels. Yeah, I would say. Is
there anybody else that's good?
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
So they should just have them. All of the good country singers?
Well, these are all the ones that I want to talk about, Rob.
Okay. All right. Well, then they could. I think that would be a good special.
Yeah.
What would they call it? What should they call it? All of the good country music singers from The Amazing Race?
Rob, I just want to put it on the record there. Like, for those of you who are furiously on the Twitter right now, I am not the one throwing shade at anybody. Rob is throwing all the shade.
What do we, Jess? I just ask questions on this show.
And throw shade in your questions.
All right, let's keep going. What about this next question, which is from Jordan R18? Did Hayley and Blair have to do the selfie task? Yeah.
Yeah, well, how else were they so many hours behind?
Yes. Yeah, they were. Took them a long time.
Yeah, it did. It took them. I think they were probably pretty gassed out by the time they got there, but I think the race made them finish.
Okay. Let's go to Original Donalds, who says, "What city would you like to see the Amazing Race end in?"
I think there's a lot of places that it could go that would be very interesting.
Okay, where would you like to see it at?
Let's think of some American cities. Like, I would love to see it actually not even end in a city. I want to see it end in the middle of freaking nowhere. Like, end in the middle of a cornfield in Nebraska.
Wow.
Or, like, they had a lot of that kind of kooky Americana in Amazing Race Family Edition. I don't think they should bring back any other aspect of Amazing Race Family Edition, but, like, take them to South Dakota and finish them up at, like, Mount Rushmore.
Wow, that would be good.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun.
There's actually in South Dakota, like on that same stretch of road as you're going to Mount Rushmore, there's a castle made entirely out of corn. They should end there. Or like the world's largest ball of twine. Something crazy like that.
Wow, the world's largest ball of twine.
Yes.
The world's largest ball of twine is the final pit stop.
Exactly. See, now you're picking up what I'm putting down here.
Teams will have to roll over 3,000 miles of yarn. Too Real wants to know, where do Tyler and Laura rank in the pantheon of Amazing Race winners? All right, top 10 winner, Tyler and Laura.
I'd put them near the bottom of the top 10, but I think they could probably crack it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, again, Rob, we're not talking like, this is like 60th percentile. We put them like just on the wrong end of the curve,
Okay. Let's keep going. A few more questions from Cupcake Leah. My sister texted me after the finale, and she told me that she thinks Blair and Hayley are going to get married, so maybe there's a hope for love. Is Cupcake Leah's sister right? Are Blair and Hayley going to get married?
Well, I'm a big Blayley shipper. And I think, we've written the fan fiction about this scenario before, Rob. 5 years from now, Blair and Hayley meet up to, like, have a beer and reminisce about the Amazing Race. And, just kind of catch up for old time's sake. And they realize as they're talking about it how much fun it was and what a great experience it was and how they'll never go through anything like that again with anybody else and how it really brought them together. And they'll realize how stupid they were to ignore the latent attraction that was brewing the whole time they were on the race together. And that's when we'll see them get married. It won't be tomorrow. It'll be in like 5 years.
Okay. Boy, I really hope that Hayley is receptive to doing podcasts with us.
She would love it. I'm sure she would.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Like, I feel like a lot of the podcast would just be her being mad at me.
Well, that's okay, Rob. I would enjoy watching that.
No, I think everybody would. I think.
And you know what, Rob?
I don't need her to like me. I just want her to do the podcasts.
If someone is mad at you, Rob, wouldn't you rather they come on your podcast and talk to you about it rather than like
the biggest reason behind the popularity of Nicole on the podcast?
Exactly. We need more people to be mad at you on the air. It makes for wonderful listening. If you want, I'll think of something. I'll get mad at you.
Why is Dan Foley more popular among listeners of this podcast, Jess?
Well, because Dan Foley is mad at everybody in the world. He's not mad at you specifically.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but maybe I'll think of something and I'll get mad at you because I don't really get mad at you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure people will appreciate that. Okay. Yes. Let's go to Antonio Mazzaro. Antonio says Survivor is thriving. Amazing Race is looking for hooks. Why not an entire season of ex-Survivors, Jess?
No.
No, you're shooting that down so quickly.
I wish I had a taboo buzzer. No. Ex-survivors on The Amazing Race have meant nothing but trouble for us.
Yeah. Yeah, Amazing Race would never do that. They don't even want one team of survivors on The Amazing Race.
Yeah, I could see them doing something like Battle of the Network Stars, where they get like you could have a pair from Big Brother, and you have a pair from Survivor, and then you have a pair from like Big Bang Theory. It wouldn't be like the A-list stars. It'd be like, recurring characters. In fact, somebody who was on The Amazing Race had a recurring role in Big Bang Theory, so get that guy. And get like people from The Good Wife and like Person of Interest.
You want this to turn into the Battle of the CBS Stars?
Yes, Battle of the CBS Network Stars, Amazing Race. That I would watch.
Okay.
And I think it would bring my whole household together because my husband watches every CBS show that is not Amazing Race. So it would be perfect.
We haven't had any team from the other CBS reality shows on Amazing Race 26. Amazing Race 27 is probably going to be leaving soon, Jess. Is there anybody that's in the woodwork that we should be thinking about? Is there anybody that we haven't brought up lately? Is there a couple that would be good for Amazing Race that...
Well, I think anybody from the...
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, no, you go ahead. You have an idea.
Well, I was going to say that we just had the San Juan del Sur, which is all of these blood versus water couples that we could send any of them in, like a John and Jacqueline off the top of my head.
Yeah, or Reed and Josh, who are huge fans of Amazing Race. They'd be happy to go.
Mm-hmm. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and they kind of seem like a lot of people were saying they were kind of snubbed for the season 31 voting pool.
Yes.
What if Baylor and Missy just showed up?
Yes, they could just show up. I don't have my soundboard plugged in, but I wish I did, because they could just show up. Have we ever had a reality pair that was not a dating couple?
That's an interesting thought, and I
we have Jeff and Jordan and Rob and Amber and all these other people that are dating couples. Brentschel, of course, famously, and Allison and her boyfriend, and Jenna and Ethan. And is there anybody else that we're leaving out? I think that's everybody.
A little shade of it all.
Have we ever had it? I feel like Baylor and Misty would be interesting.
Baylor and Missy would be fabulous. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
And I
fight with each other.
I never pictured myself saying that I think we need to see more Baylor and Missy, but this idea has legs.
What about Rodney and Joaquin?
Oh, the romance of my dreams.
You better relax, bro. Relax.
Well, I want to see what happens. Like they would have to film it like
not on his damn birthday.
Well, they'd have to plan it around his birthday, make sure his birthday happened while they were out there.
In this leg, teams will have to wash dishes. So my damn birthday, not doing this. We're taking the time penalty.
And they would have to throw the date night thing back in there so that Rodney could just not get the date night ever.
Yeah. I thought somebody would give me date night. It's my damn birthday. All right. Let's do a couple more questions. George Y says, every Tyler to compete on The Amazing Race has won. Is Tyler the winning name equivalent in the same way that Natalie is for Survivor? How many Tyler is there? Is that BJ and Tyler?
Yep. And there was another Tyler. I think the season after BJ and Tyler. It was one of the addict models. And there's been a Tyler that won Amazing Race Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler is a very winning name. I don't know if there are Tylers that have not won, but it seems like if you want to win on The Amazing Race, couldn't hurt to be named Tyler.
Okay. Let's go for Mr. Air Sonic, who says, did it say look near the train tracks? It seems like it did, because Jenny and Laura were talking about it. Shouldn't Hayley have looked harder near the train tracks, if that's what the clue said?
That's probably true. I don't know why she didn't read the clue. Why isn't she listening to anybody?
Why isn't she paying attention to detail?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought she was the detail person. Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought she was too. Okay. This is from Don Looking. It says, how much does a good finale help a season or a terrible finale hurt a season? I thought this was an average season with a good finale. Could tonight put this season over the 50% mark?
That's an interesting
Is this a top 13 season of The Amazing Race, Jess?
I would say it is. I would say I would rank it around like 11 or 12, but I thought it was all right. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the finale made or broke it though. I thought that there was plenty of great content up to the finale, and this was a pretty decent finale. But I'm not sure that it overall, like seeing this, didn't make me say that I liked the season more or liked it any less.
Okay. All right. Let's do two more questions from Scranton Analytics, who says, at the end of last season, Jessica was very skeptical of the concept of the season. Now that it's over, I assume it was not as bad as you originally thought it was going to be. What will be your overall takeaway from season 26, Jess, now that it's all said and done?
I think if you have big characters, it matters a little bit less what the relationship is, and if you have a good race route, it matters a little bit less who you've cast. But overall, I wouldn't say that I want to see this conceit come back. But I will say that this was an entertaining season. I had a lot of fun covering it. There were great people on it that were really memorable, and they went to some really cool places, and that's kind of all I want out of a season.
Yeah. Overall, I think that we were all very poo-pooing the blind date. I think I was much more of like, let's just see how it plays out before we're too negative about it. But we don't need 11 dating couples. I think that the diversity of the casting in terms of the relationships is one of the strengths of the show. They took that away. In spite of that, we got some good stuff.
Yeah, I think
some good in the blind date concept, but I don't think we need an all blind date season again.
Yeah, I don't think we ever need to see. I don't think we need to see like Phil trying to play matchmaker and like needling the people about whether or not they've hooked up yet. I think it made Phil uncomfortable. I think it was beneath him, and I think that if we bring back teams of strangers, it's not a bad idea. But teams of couples, we don't need that.
So, when do you think that you might get introduced to his parents?
Yeah.
So, do you like what you see?
Yeah. So, you hit it yet?
Whoa! Jess. John Johnston wants to know, was anybody annoyed that the Cowboys theme song played?
Well, do the Cowboys have exclusive rights to that? I thought anytime you do anything with Cowboys, it doesn't have to be the Cowboys, you know?
Yeah, but when you're in Dallas.
Yeah. And Cowboys are from Oklahoma, by the way.
Okay.
This isn't their turf. They're not encroaching.
Okay, Texas forever. Okay, and one last question from Jer Martin. After all, please rank and open the Hayley of fame. Hayley Ford, Hayley Keel, and Hayley Strong.
Is this a DMK? Because I don't want to DMK these people.
I don't think it was a DMK. I think it was rank them 1, 2, 3.
Well, Hayley Strong is number one with a frickin' bullet, right?
In your hearts and ours.
In my heart, yeah.
Okay, but Hayley Ford or Hayley from Blaley?
I'm gonna go with Hayley from Blaley. I think she's more colorful. I mean,
yeah, with all due respect to the HF rules, yes. I would say that for I really and the HF rules, which are don't be a weirdo, don't be inconsiderate, don't be annoying. I feel like I don't know if the other Hayley subscribes to that.
The other Hayley broke all those rules and succeeded anyway.
Yeah, so look good for her.
Yeah, nothing that happened to Blair and Hayley that caused them to lose the race was at all related to how Hayley acted toward Blair.
Okay. Jess, do you blog the finale?
Yes.
Okay.
I will be blogging the finale, and I took just enough pictures. I didn't take very many pictures tonight, but I took just enough that we'll have something to post in there.
Okay. All right, Jess. And what will you be talking about in the finale blog?
I don't know. I was going to talk a lot about race design and why I thought this one worked a little bit better than last season, but we covered that pretty well in the podcast, so now I got to come up with something new.
Okay. Well, Jess, first off, let me hand it to you for another outstanding season of podcasting The Amazing Race. You are the preeminent Amazing Race podcaster.
I'm basically, I've said this before, but me podcasting about The Amazing Race with you, in the Rahap universe, it's like the equivalent of the fish dish on the menu at the steakhouse.
Hey, some people like that. Can't eat steak all the time.
Yeah, or I'm like the grilled vegetables.
No, you are no such thing. That's absolutely not the case. We have so much fun every week getting to
We
talk
do.
about the
We
Amazing
really
Race.
do.
We will be renewed. We will be renewing for the fall, right?
We are renewing for the fall, and it's still on Friday nights. So, you know, say goodbye to your social life.
What social life?
Yeah, indeed.
All right, Jess. So, fantastic job talking about that. What's our hashtag tonight?
What is our hashtag tonight?
Okay, we talked about the Latter Day Guido edit.
Latter Day Guido edit. We got Chekhov's selfie.
Yes, and also selfie color forms.
I like selfie color forms. I think
Okay,
that's
selfie color
our winner.
forms. There you go, Jess, and your selfie color form set. All right. Thanks so much to Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes all season long as well, pulling up all the questions and making sure these shows are running entirely. I can't believe it, Jess, but this is it for Amazing Race until September.
Yeah, it's the end of the road.
Yes.
It's the final mat.
It's that I should say it's the end of the Amazing Race US.
Yeah.
What do you have in store for Amazing Race international coverage this summer?
Well, Rob, I'm glad you asked that. I will be covering Amazing Race Canada once again, and I was told by a couple of people in the Amazing Race Canada fandom that they really missed me blogging, so I'm going to blog again. And I'm also going to be doing some weekly podcasts with our good friend Dan Heaton. And then he's going to have to take the reins for a while because I'm going to be away for a few weeks in the summer. But
hold on. Are you going to be on a reality show?
I'm not going to be on a reality show.
Okay.
I might
on the Amazing Race 27, Jess?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that statement.
Are you going on a blind date with Dave Navarro?
Yes, I am.
That's code for going on the Amazing Race.
Yeah, that's
wow,
code.
Jess, what's your hashtag?
I think my hashtag is like I was about to throw some more shade, and I'm not going to throw any more shade. So I'm not even going to give you a hashtag.
Okay, all right. So we'll let us know in the comments what the Jess and Dave Navarro hashtag is.
Yes.
All right. Well, that would be very exciting if that is what happens.
Yeah.
Are you going to be on Big Brother 17? Keith Dixon wants to know in the chat room.
Oh, he found me out. Damn it. Don't tell CBS that this got out, okay?
Will you give us really shout-outs on the live feeds, Jess?
All the time. Always.
Could you practice your shout-outs to us on the live feeds?
Yeah, I gotta work up to this, you know. And I gotta practice my yelling in the confessional. That's the thing I don't like about Big Brother. Whenever they show people in confessionals, they're just screaming at the camera. And it's don't you people have inside voices?
Okay, well I think you'd be great on Big Brother, Jess.
I have to yell more.
All right. So, Jess, great job once again. Looking forward to everything that you're doing. Of course, you can hear all of Jessica's international Amazing Race coverage this summer on Reality TV Wrap-Ups, which is also Reality TV Wrap-Ups was in hibernation for a couple of months. Nothing was going on, but now all of a sudden everything is back. Kurt Clark is covering international Big Brother. We've got Amy and Hayley back with The Bachelor. Bachelorette kicking back off this Monday night. So go to subscribe to the Reality TV Wrap-Ups feed at robbinswebsite.com/Wrap-Ups. That's RHAPUPS. Or you can get the Robbins Podcast app, which has the direct feed for everything Reality TV Wrap-Ups at robbinswebsite.com/app.
Yeah, and I heard there might be some Survivor content on there this weekend.
Oh, okay. Were you part of the round table, Jess?
Yes, I was part of the round table. We have listened to all of Rob's incredibly hard work with 25 extra hours of podcasts this week. Mike Bloom and Akiva Wienerker and I listened to all of it.
The Office roundtable back together.
Yeah, back together again. We got the band back together so that we could bring you some coverage of the amazing. Which show am I talking about? Survivor with the island and the people and the 31 and the voting, and we listened to all of your interviews with those Survivor people that want to go back on the show, and we kind of broke down like what the social media sphere is saying, how we think they're going to do, whether we think they're going to get on, whether we want them to go on. It's a lot of stuff. It's going to be really great. I think it's going to drop this weekend.
I can't wait to listen to it. I love the stuff that you and Mike and Hayley did with the Miss Survivor and Mr. Survivor reaction shows, and that was very fun, so I can't wait to hear that. That's going to be on Reality TV Wrap Ups. I will tweet out those links as well over the weekend. So, everybody, thanks for watching our Amazing Race coverage all season long. We really appreciate it. Can't wait to get back in the fall and talk more about it. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you again soon.